Consumers, this is the IWA / MLW Caribbean champion. And right now, you are consuming on SK Wrestling. And that means that you're breathing rarefied air.
What's going on, wrestling fans? It's Sportskeeda's Lee Walker here. And unlike the interview queen of MLW, I will address my guest correctly. Ladies and gentlemen, the IWA / MLW Caribbean Heavyweight Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Holliday. Richard, how you doing today, sir?
You know what? It's nice to finally have that respect that not only should I be given, but I have earned rightfully to be introduced that way. And honestly, Alicia could really take a page out of your book. I don't know how long you've been doing this, but it seems like she's been doing this for like 2 weeks because she doesn't understand how to properly introduce her guest. She thinks that she's the star. The interviewee is the star. So I appreciate that. I'm doing well, if that answers your question.
That answers my question. Thank you very much. And thank you for the compliment. And I agree with you 100%. A man of your stature should be introduced exactly how you see fit. And I'm glad that I fit that part. April 14th, you have a match with former Dynasty member Gino Medina for the Caribbean Championship. Before we get into that, I found an interview regarding you recruiting Gino, and it goes like this. When I go into recruitment mode, it's out of not necessity. I never recruit out of necessity. I recruit based on opportunity. And I recruited Gino into Dynasty. That was a hand selection by me. And I felt we needed to penetrate the Latino market and expand our demographic reach. We did not need to do that, but that was something I felt was an opportunity for Dynasty to do. So he was a very smooth transition in. So in terms of your question, I don't actively recruit. I actively look for opportunities. And when the opportunity arises, then recruitment mode goes into play. Knowing that you said that, do you feel that Dynasty got what they wanted out of Gino Medina?
My God, first and foremost, I really am such a good speaker. I just articulate so well. Like that quote was just, you can't write that up. It can only come out of the mouth in terms of an educated man like myself. So what a beautiful quote. What was your question again? I honestly got sidetracked just listening to my own quote.
And you know what? That's completely okay. The question was, do you feel like Dynasty got what they wanted to out of Gino Medina?
Yeah, you know, kind of, I guess. I mean, I went into recruitment mode again because I felt like we could penetrate the Latino market. Did we do that? Yeah, I think a little bit. Do I think I could have done that on my own with Hammerstone? Yeah, I think we could have. But, you know, I took a route that I felt like would have been beneficial for the Dynasty. And it was more of a short-term play, right? Like in stocks, there are stocks that you hold, there are stocks that you sell. I sold him very quickly. I sold him when the time was right. I saw him just about to go on a bit of a tailspin, and I sold him. And look at him now. Now he's begging to be back in the Dynasty. He writes letters weekly to my lawyer / my father, begging him to get put back in. Like, how is that going to work? That'll never work, Gino. Just stop. You're embarrassing yourself.
All right. April 14th, let's go back a little bit. It was January 11th, 2020, when you as yourself took possession of the Caribbean Championship, which people will argue that you won a non-title match. However,
uneducated people.
Thank you. I tend to disagree because in my book, you have now held the Caribbean Championship for, I believe now it's over 400 days, slowly catching up to Savio Vega, who held it for over 500 days. Will that be a goal of yours to break that record of his?
No, I don't compare myself to Savio in any way, shape, or form. And okay. The fact, yeah, in no way, shape, or form do I compare myself to Savio. At the end of the day, he could have it for 500 days. It was a Puerto Rican hunk of metal when he had it for 500 days. Great. He carried around a piece of garbage for 500 days. I, on the other hand, am carrying around the most talked about championship in all professional wrestling. I really don't think that you can argue that. I really don't. I think that the IWA/MLW Caribbean Championship was taken to heights that they never even saw were possible when I won that championship, rightfully, on that night in Dallas, Texas. And I won that championship. And now look at us. We're talking about it 400 days later. We're talking about a match that made national headlines because of me. It's not because of Savio. I'm going to pass that and just leave it in the dust and say, huh, that was easy.
Since the restart, Gino is actually undefeated in MLW. Does that draw a concern to you at all, or?
Good for Gino. Great. Undefeated. Listen, that's fantastic. I'm glad that you built up this undefeated record, because when you step in the ring with me, guess what, Gino? There's your one. There's your one loss. I don't even know how many wins you have. 2, 3? I have no idea. I'm not keeping track. Like I told you, once I fired your ass, I left you in the dust. I don't keep tabs on you. I keep tabs on me.
All right. And speaking of, him being undefeated, Pro Wrestling Illustrated does the top 10 for the MLW championships and things like that. And on one of the last ones that they did, they talked about the MLW Heavyweight Championship. Now, Gino ranked in at 9th, having never been ranked before, and he's not too far off from you, as they ranked you 7th. Do you feel that the PWI should have you ranked higher, especially considering you're already a champion?
Absolutely. It should be Hammerstone and Holliday, 1A, 1B. That's it. Maybe not even 1A, 1B, maybe just 1-1. Hammerstone and Holliday. I mean, he's the national overweight champion. I'm the Caribbean champion. Why wouldn't we be? We've been dominating the league ever since the Dynasty is formed. We're the most talked about people on the show. Who's ranked ahead of me? I mean, I didn't even check the list. You kidding me? 7? Now that I found this information out, guess who's going to be hearing from my lawyer / my father? You guessed it, PWI. Did it to yourself. PWI, you want to rank me that low? Go ahead. Might pay the price for it.
Well, maybe after April 14th, that rank will definitely bump up. And speaking of the match with Gino, are you studying any tapes? Are you watching any of his matches to get ready for this match?
No, I'm not. Here's the thing: when you're the Caribbean champion, I wake up every single morning, I look myself in the mirror and I say, my God, you are just breathing rarefied air. More so than any other consumer, any other wrestler, anybody who's ever walked this earth. I wake up, I feel dangerous. I go to bed, I feel unstoppable. No. Gino has a lot to worry about when he gets in the ring with me. I am on top of my game. I am the sharpest I've ever been. I am in the best shape of my life. I don't think the consumers give me enough credit for that. Not that I seek their credit, not that I seek their admiration. I don't. But Gino needs to understand that this is not a game to me. This is real life. This is grown man shit. Okay, excuse my language, but it is. And Gino needs to understand that.
And I'm glad that you brought up Alexander Hammerstone. How does he feel about the Richard Holliday, Gino Medina situation in the match?
Well, he was, part of the deliberations when I fired him. Obviously, I had to tell Hammerstone, and he was all for it because he knew he was on Dynasty. He knew that we used him for what we used him for, and it was all well and good, but he just didn't fit the mold.
And speaking of Dynasty, there's a lot of factions among MLW. Do you think that Gino will be able to survive in MLW being on his own, or is he the type that needs to have a faction to thrive in MLW?
Gino is like a lost puppy. He latches on to people and he wants to milk people for all they're worth, like a true leech. That's truly what he is. He's a Hispanic leech. And he'll he might go and join Contra. He might try and join Injustice. He might try and legally change his last name to Von Erich just to fit in. Okay. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do, but I'll tell you one thing: he'll never, ever, ever come close to the Dynasty again, ever again.
Okay. And how do you feel about what's going to happen? Let fans know April 14th, Richard Holliday versus Gio Medina for the IWA/MLW Caribbean Championship. Let fans know what's going to happen.
Well, consumers, please address them as they are.
Okay.
And I'll tell the consumers exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to walk down that aisle as the Caribbean champion. I'm going to teach Gino Medina a lesson in dynastic respect, and that I'm going to leave that ring as the Caribbean champion. And there won't be a blemish on the champ's face, because I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that with a smile on my face. I'm going to have fun on the 14th. I can't wait to just keep letting him know that I fired him. And he might cry. He honestly might cry on national TV. And that will be great. And then I'll form a little cup of his tears in my hand. And I'll smack him across the face with it. And say, there's your undynastic tears. Maybe hydrate yourself with it. I'm going to have fun on the 14th. Honestly, if you're a consumer, just tune in. Make sure you watch this.
All right. And for the consumers who aren't following you on social media, which, by the way, you should be if you're not, Mr. Holliday, can you let fans, consumers, know where to find you on social media?
Yes, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Most Marketable. It's the same handle. Made it very simple for you. Go ahead and follow me. As you should be.
Exactly. And Richard Holliday, I want to thank you for taking the time out of what I already know is a very busy schedule to sit here and speak with me today about the match with Gino Medina, April 14th, MLW Fusion, 7 p.m. Eastern time. You can also check them out on a wide variety of other platforms from beIN Sports, Danzen, and FUBO Sports. Check your local listings for MLW Fusion, April 14th. Richard Holliday, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with me today.
It was your pleasure.